Hi, I'm Sheldon Rowe. I'm the superintendent with Peace Wapiti. The only job I have for the meeting tonight is to introduce Lyle Carlstrom. Lyle has agreed to chair the meeting tonight. Checked with the petitioners, the representative of the petitioners, and it made sense for us to agree on a chair ahead of time. Hopefully that goes forward in a positive manner. Just to give you some background on Lyle, he grew up on a farm out at Bear Canyon, received his high school education in Fairview. He attended Grand Prairie Regional College, obtained a diploma in liberal studies. In 1982, he received his Bachelor of Arts degree at the U of A, and in 86, he graduated from McGill University with a Bachelor of Laws degree. Lyle joined the firm in 1990, known as KMSC Law. He's been a member of the Canadian Bar Association since '83. He's a strong supporter of public legal education. He's taught with Athabasca University, Fairview College, Grand Prairie Regional College, and helped create the Estate Financial Planning Institute. He presently serves as an advisor to the Commerce Faculty, the Alumni Foundation, and the Students Association at Grand Prairie Regional College. Along with public legal education, Lyle has served in numerous other volunteer capacities. He is the founding chair of the KMSC Law Golf event that provides support to 18 local not-for-profit groups each year. Also, he is currently president of the Estate and Financial Planning Institute and the co-chair of the Grand Prairie Regional Hospital Capital Campaign. Lyle also has 3 children.
Thanks, Sheldon. So one thing that Sheldon's introduction didn't actually mention is that my grandparents were from La Glace. So my grandparents were Hofflands. So I understand the area. My grandparents did lots of work in Sexsmith, and we actually have an office in Sexsmith just because we actually believe that everybody deserves good representation. So tonight, that's partly what we're talking about, is representation as it relates to school division policy. So unfortunately I have to go through some rules, so stick with me on this. Some of the rules will be sort of highlighted up on the front. A lot of them are in the package that we received. But at the end of the day, it's all about making sure that your interests and your wishes and those of your children are represented. So that's the whole focus of tonight, and I expect things will go very smoothly. So one thing that you need to know, and you would have noticed this on the way in, is the guy with the camera there. So he's recording the meeting, partly to make sure that other people that might not be in the room can actually listen to what you say. Some of the school trustees wouldn't necessarily be here tonight, and this isn't about the trustees. This is about grassroots democracy and how you get a say. But to make sure that your wishes are conveyed to the school trustees, the proceedings are being videotaped. So just so you know that, that isn't a fake camera at the back, that's a real camera. So Section 27 of the School Act, which is up here, talks about prohibits the disruption or interruption of proceedings of meetings and loitering or trespassing on school property. It sort of stresses the fact that disrespectful behavior will not be tolerated. I know that's not going to happen here, because we're in Sexsmith and everybody's respectful and all the rest of that. But just so you know, if somebody comes from outside and they're creating problems, we're going to have a way to make sure that they don't disrupt our meeting. The timeline on the agenda is a guideline. However, out of respect for those that have come a distance to be here, and the fact that they can get home and probably get back on the combine, we are going to try to get things finished by about 9 o'clock tonight. So there may be some trustees in attendance, and I'm not asking them to put up their hands or anything. They're here to listen if they're here at all, because at the end of the day, this is an opportunity for you to have your say and you to have a say on behalf of your children in the school district. So the trustees may be here, they may be listening, they may be watching the videotape, but at the end of the day, this isn't about them, this is about you and your children. So, some of the background, and Joanna, if you don't mind switching to the next slide. And this is legalese, but at the end of the day, I'm a lawyer. I got to make sure that you understand what the Act says. So Section 269 of the Act allows for electors to petition the board for a public meeting. The board received a petition with the purpose to call a public meeting pursuant to Section 269 of the School Act of Alberta to consider and discuss and formulate a committee for the purposes of drafting the school district safe learning in response to Section 45.12 of the amendments of the School Act, which were proclaimed in force June 1st of 2015. Sounds like a lot of legalese. It is a bit of a legalese, but at the end of the day, what we're doing here is allowing you to have a say to set up a committee, if you wish, that will get to represent your interests and those of your children to the school board. So that's the whole purpose of why we're here. Beyond that, I might exercise a little bit of control and say, well, once we've elected people and we've created some policies that we recommend to the board, we're not here to debate the Constitution of Canada or anything beyond that. It's really a reasonably direct reason to be here, so we're going to try to make sure that we stay on task. So, the School Act is quite specific about the purposes of a public meeting. The purpose of the committee are to, A, determine if you want to establish a committee. You decide, no, we're all happy and we don't need a committee. Well, then we can have coffee and we can go home. But that's probably not why you're here. So if we decide we're going to have a committee, the second thing we decide is an election of up to 4 people on that committee, and to provide guidance to the committee by way of resolution. So while our friends from the school district are counting the votes, if their vote is necessary to decide who's going to be on the committee, you'll have a say about the type of policy recommendations you'll make to that committee and thence to the school board. So we've got some work to do, but we've got some time to do it. Questions so far? All right, we're doing okay. We're on page 2 already. So resolutions will be made at the microphone. So we've got one at the front. You can use my handheld one because I probably don't need it that often. But at the end of the day, we want you to be heard. So that's why we've got microphones, not to distract you, anything like that. Any resolution will require a seconder. And we are going to follow Robert's Rules of Order as they've been interpreted by the school district, because at the end of the day, that's how the rules say. So if I make a motion and nobody in the crowd agrees with me and I don't get a seconder, then my motion doesn't move forward. So voting will be on the resolution is done by green and black cards. So everybody's got those. Excellent. Green and black, that's good. Green is for the resolution, black is against the resolution. That should be pretty easy. Nobody in the room's colorblind, right? Okay, so if you are, but your neighbor knows, what green and black is, then just ask them, because at the end of the day, that's pretty important. Green means go effectively, and black means no, we're not going. So, if the Assembly decides to establish a committee, nominations are made again at the microphone. The names will be projected, because this is an open democracy, and we want to know who's actually interested in representing you and your children. Once the slate of names is finalized, each nominee may have up to 5 minutes to address the Assembly. So you have 5 minutes to talk about yourself and why you think you should be on the committee. Those of you eligible to vote will vote by writing the name on the ballot and putting them in the ballot boxes. So not everybody in the room is eligible to vote. Nice that you came. Nice that you're supporting democracy, but you have to be registered and have a ballot in order to vote. The ballots will be counted jointly by the ballot counters and petition representatives. The reason why we're here is that some people got a petition together. So to make sure that democracy is fair and open, the people that actually started the petition will get a chance to review the vote. Makes sense? It's fair, and that way we make sure that there's no sort of skullduggery behind the scene anywhere. While the votes are being counted, the floor will be open for resolutions to guide that committee. Each person that comes to the microphone again has about 2 minutes to speak to the resolution. Voting on the resolution will be done again with the green and black cards. So green means you support, black means that you don't. When the results of the ballot count are completed, the committee member names will be announced. And as close to 9 o'clock as I can keep us, we should be done, and we should be able to go home and have coffee and get back on the combine. So, we're now on agenda item number 4. I'd accept a resolution to establish a committee of up to 4 persons. Is someone willing to make that resolution?
I will make that resolution.
Can you identify yourself, ma'am?
I'm Nancy Schlavitz from La Glace, and I make a resolution that we try to find 4 nominees.
Okay. Joanne, did you get that more or less? Okay. I'm just going to make sure that we record the resolution. Seconder of the motion? It'll be a short night if we... Okay, excellent. Okay. Your name, ma'am?
Stephanie Fehler.
Can you spell that for Joanne?
Fehler.
Okay, so just dealing with that as Joanne's getting that put together. Again, Section 269 of the School Act states that at a public meeting held under this section, the electors present may elect 4 persons to a committee. So we've got a resolution to establish a committee.
Nancy Schlavitz, SCHLAUWITZ.
And you're satisfied with the wording?
Okay.
Oh, sorry, can you see it? Okay. So a committee of 4 persons be established as per Section 269 of the School Act to advise the district on the safe and caring learning environment policy, and that's acceptable too. Okay. So any debate on the motion? Hearing none. If you're in favor of the motion, please raise a green card. Okay. Lots of green cards. Any opposed? Please raise a black card. Seeing none, the motion is carried. Okay. I now, moving right along. We've got a resolution and a list of nominees. So we got a motion to establish that committee, and now we'll accept nominations for that committee. You can nominate yourself or anybody that is a representative and entitled to vote within the school district. So do we have a motion for nominations? Exactly right. Yeah, if you have 1 or more people that you'd like to nominate, I think it's easier if we do it one at a time.
I would like to nominate, because I've already talked to her, Margaret Sept.
And can you spell that for us?
Margaret Sept is SENFT. Sorry. SENFT. SEN.
Great. And I have to ask Margaret a question. And that is, Margaret, are you 18 years of age? Okay. And you would have showed some ID on the way in, right? Okay. Just making sure. No. That's why we ID people. You're a Canadian citizen. You live in Alberta for the last 6 months. Peace Wapiti resident eligible to vote for a public school trustee. Excellent. Okay. Seconder for the nomination.
Kim McLean.
You got that, Joanne? Yeah, okay. So moved by, I'm sorry, first name again. Yeah, Nancy. Okay. Seconded by Ms. McLean. So that's 1 nominee. Any other nominees from the floor? It's going to be a busy committee if you're the only one on it. Do we have a second nominee? Yes. You're nominating Lynn Scheidegger?
I am nominating Lynn Scheidegger. Awesome. No N.
Seconder. We're getting close? Is that close, Lynn? Okay, is that right? Okay, seconder for that nomination. And your name, ma'am?
Melissa Bueller, B-U-H-L-E-R.
B-U-H-L-E-R. Sorry, seconder. Okay. So, while we're on the topic, are you 18 years of age? You are. Are you a Canadian citizen? Lived in Alberta for the last 6 months. And a Peace Wapiti resident eligible to vote for public school trustee. Excellent. Okay. So 2 nominees. Do we have a call for a third? Yes. Sorry.
I was at the food bank drive with the Cubs and missed out on the registration portion.
Oh.
Is it too late for me to register as a voter? Or?
It is too late to register as a voter, but it's not too late necessarily for someone to nominate her. I would agree with that. Yeah. So if you're interested, someone can nominate you, but unfortunately the registration was cut off in accordance with the public advertisement.
And you can nominate yourself.
Except that if you're not registered, that would be a problem.
I would like to nominate Stephanie King. I would like to nominate Stephanie King.
Is that K-I-N-G? Okay, do we have a seconder? Seconder for the nomination? K-I-N-G. Yes? Okay, excellent. And we've got her name from the first time around. Let's spell it again. It'll be fun.
F-E-H-L-E-R.
Okay, I would have never got that, so it's good that we spelled it. Okay, so you're 18 years of age, ma'am? I am. Canadian citizen? Yes. Lived in Alberta for the last 6 months? Peace Wapiti resident eligible to vote for a public school trustee. Okay, so we've got a third nominee. Call for a fourth nominee.
I would like to nominate Manny Corpus.
Let me give you the mic, ma'am.
I'd like to nominate Manny Corpus.
C-O-R-P-U-S, perhaps?
Yes.
C-O-R-P-A-S.
Manny. Manny is a first name.
M-A-N-N-Y? Okay.
No, not Nancy. Manny. M-A-N-N-Y.
M-A-N-N-Y.
Manny.
There you go. We got
M-A-N-N.
it. Okay. Do we have a seconder for that motion? Nomination, I should say. Seconder?
Nelson Senft, S-E-N-F-T.
Okay. And where's Manny? Okay. So Manny, are you 18? Yes, sir. All right. Canadian citizen. You've lived in Alberta for past 6 months at least. Peace Wapiti resident eligible to vote for a public school trustee. Okay, we have a third nominee. Any other nominations? It's awfully hard for a committee if they have to carry the weight of 4, but just saying. Do we have an extra nomination? There is 4. 4? Oh, well, okay, I'm a lawyer, not an accountant. Any other nominations? Because, again, we're electing 4. That doesn't mean we can't nominate more. Okay, that accountant crack obviously sounds crowd. Sorry.
I nominate
Dave Dunker. Would that be D-U-E-N-C-K-E-R? Okay. Did you get that, Joanne? D-U-I-N-K-E-R. I think. Yeah. I should ask him.
No C.
No C. Okay.
And I've seen worse.
All right. First name is David. Dave. Okay. Seconder for the nomination. And your name, sir?
David Schlavitz, I second that.
How do you spell that last name?
SCHLAUWITZ.
Excellent. This is as much a spelling bee as it is a meeting. This is good. Okay, so I have to ask, are you 18, sir?
I am.
Oh, at least 18. Canadian citizen, lived in Alberta for the last 6 months.
Yes.
And a Peace Wapiti resident eligible to vote for a public school trustee.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, fifth nominee. Any other nominations? Okay, I'll ask a second time. Any other nominations? Okay, just 1 second.
Jordan McChesney. Lynn Torgerson.
Okay, Lynn Torgerson. We know all to spell that. It's Norwegian. And sorry, David Chesney. Jordan Chesney. So that would be Jordanchemc. McChesney. Okay. MC and then another C? Okay. All right. Excellent. I'll get that before the night's done. Seconder to that nomination, David McChesney. Okay. We're getting close, though. All right, that's good. We have a seconder to the nomination. Now, Jordan's in the room. Jordan, you're over 18. Yes, okay. You've lived in Alberta for at least 6 months. Peace Wapiti resident, eligible to vote for a public school trustee. Okay. All right. I don't know how many nominations we have again, because again, I'm still not an accountant. But we have more than 4, I think. So any other nominations? Second time, any further nominations? Third time, any further nominations? I'd accept a motion that nominations be closed by someone other than me. Sorry, are you making that motion? Yeah, okay. And your name, ma'am?
Amber Hine.
H-E-I-N? H-E. So Amber is A-M-B-E-R, Hine is H-E-Y-N. Seconder to the motion to close nominations. Dreger is probably D-R-I-E-D-G-E-R. Okay. Whew. All right. Any debate on the motion to close nominations? Voting with your green cards, all those in favor? Okay, voting with your black cards, all opposed. Okay, give us just a couple minutes. We're going to sort out the ballot procedure, and we'll be back in a second. All right, moving right along. I didn't miss anything, so that's good. You all have ballots in your package, and you have an opportunity to write in up to 4 names. You can't write in the same name twice, and you can't write my name in, because that'll mess stuff up. So up to 4 names as you see them on the screen. We'll allow a few minutes, sorry. The nominees will get to speak. Correct. Sorry about that. You're absolutely right. Yeah, just checking. Yeah, okay. So, good point. We're going to allow the nominees to speak for up to 5 minutes. I knew I was missing something. Democracy, that's what I was missing. So, Margaret, are you ready, willing, and able to speak? Yes, come on up. So at the front, we have a lady that's timing us, especially me. So you get to tell us, short, okay. Make sure the mic works.
Not IT.
Check, check, check. Okay.
Public speaking is not my forte, so I much prefer the written word, and that's what I'm going to use. That being said, my name is Margaret Senft. My husband and I live in La Glace, and we've done so for the last 20 years. We have 2 children, both of whom attended La Glace School and then, of course, here at Sexsmith. Overall, the kids had a very good experience in the public school system. Tonight, most of us are here to express concern over Peace Wapiti's policy regarding safe and caring learning environment, diverse sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression. And we're looking to have an opportunity to have a say in the potential revision of these policies. I have read fairly extensively on the subject of gender nonconformity and gender dysphoria. I've familiarized myself with similar policies from over 20 of the school districts in Alberta. I've communicated ad nauseum, and Sheldon will attest to that, with Sheldon Rowe and numerous politicians, including Minister Egan, over the past 8 months with regard to these policies. I'm very interested in sitting on this committee. I would be working towards the following things. The first, and to me the most important, has to do with parental rights. First of all, to maintain the rights of parents to be informed about all significant aspects of their child's life at school. Secondly, to maintain the right of parents to make decisions regarding their child's education. The second point is to ensure the safety of all students in washrooms and change rooms, and I would emphasize all students. The third point being ensuring safety and fair play for all students in the school sports programs. And the last point would be maintaining open communication between the school board and, by extension, Alberta Education and its stakeholders. That would be us. I'm not interested in being politically correct. I'm really not interested in having the government, through the school system, mandate what I or my child should think or believe. And I'm working hard at not being interested in what other people think of me. I am interested in hearing from others on these issues. I'm interested in seeking for and speaking truth, and doing that with charity and respect, even if I'm not legislated to do so.
Thanks, Margaret. Lynn, are you ready to speak? Yes, she's coming. All the way from the back. So just a reminder, you speak up to 5 minutes. The lady here will give you a yellow card at 4 minutes and 30 seconds, and a red card at 5 minutes. So, Lynn.
Ladies and gentlemen, I come to you tonight as a concerned parent. I come hopeful for resolution and wisdom to discuss Bill 10 and the Safe Learning Carry, the policy. This is controversial and it has been polarizing. My hope is to focus on unity, my suggestion that we look at the issue through the lens of kindness and not fear. I will be honest, I can be fearful about my kids, my children. I want the best for them. But I can let that fear blind me to wisdom, and that comes with letting kindness be my guide. So in the name of kindness, may I suggest that we think about all the students and families represented. In the name of kindness, may I ask that we embrace practical common sense and not overcomplicate the issue. I believe each student here and each family of those students deserves a place in the school and in this conversation. How can we be focused on kindness instead of focused on that which we don't want, division and bullying? I think that as a school and as a community, when we speak life and we speak what we want to attain, that's the way to choose the path. I actually didn't plan to be nominated on this committee, but I had this written up, and I thought, well, I have to read something. I am a parent. My husband and I, we have children in La Glace School, grade 3 and grade 5. We love our kids, as all of us parents do. And we love the other kids. I just want the best for everyone.
Thanks, Lynn. Stephanie, can you come to the front? Stephanie King.
Good evening, everyone. I too was not really prepared to be nominated, and so therefore don't have anything written. However, I would be glad and open to serve on a committee to represent the parents and students in this school division. As a parent of a special needs child, I've experienced firsthand a lot of the ins and outs of meeting within the districts regarding the issues of bullying, and it's certainly not limited to the gender identity issue. It goes across the board. It can affect every child, and so I definitely have been perusing through a lot of the policy and familiarizing myself with it, and I would definitely be prepared to sit down and do the homework, to do whatever was necessary to work with a committee of folks. I have the luxury of time since I work for our family business, so I can sort of make flexible hours. And having done many, many, many hours within my child's classrooms of volunteerism and seeing what goes on in the classroom that maybe existing policy doesn't always address, or even teachers and staff can't be everywhere at once. I'm very interested in how the policy is drafted, and that everybody is given equal opportunity to express what they think are the needs of the district. And I really was concerned and wanted to come out to this meeting to mainly address the fact that it seems like some of the districts are making a lot of changes that are pulling away from resources rather than giving to resources that are already there. And I'm really not interested in seeing our school district tied up in a huge bureaucracy where the amount of paper that is pushed takes more time of the students and the teachers and the admin than the actual teaching does for things that maybe could just be common sense. So with that in mind, thank you.
Thanks, Stephanie. Manny Corpus, can you come to the microphone?
Well, like everybody else, maybe, I was not prepared for anything here. So I've been in the area for the last 9 or so years, and I think the fact that a lot of people signed the petition and came out shows that people are concerned with the way that the stuff has been brought out. And there's important stuff, but I think us being a part of it is what we really want to be doing here. So I think if we can get together and review the document and things that'll work not only for the students but for families. Talks a lot about families and parents being part of the solution, but then the documentation seems to sometimes contradict itself. So I think that's really what we want as a focus, and hopefully we can work through this.
Thanks, Manny. Dave Dunker, can I have you come to the front? Did I get that pronunciation more or less right? Dunker, okay, we're good.
I started taking notes on the black card. Didn't work very good. So, my name is Dave Dunker. I've been a pastor at the Bethel Church not far from here now for 20 years. I have 4 children. I have 4 grandchildren, with more of those on the way, I know it. I have an education degree, and I have been involved in private school and public school teaching in the past. I'd be honored to sit on this committee and to listen and discuss these incredibly pertinent issues, with one condition, that someone on the committee give me constant reminders of when meetings are and what my responsibilities are and things like that. So I'm glad to let my name stand.
Thanks, Dave. If I could ask Jordan McChesney to come to the front. Jordan?
Hello, everybody. My name is Jordan McChesney, and I live in La Glace. I have 3 small kids that are just getting into school. And I guess being a new parent and seeing some of the things that your kids, I guess, are going into and the concerns that are coming with it, I don't really agree with some of the things. Like, all kids need to be loved at the end of the day. All kids need to be taken care of and looked over. And I don't have, I guess, a lot of education on stuff like this, but there are other people that are doing an awesome job on preparing all of this. And I would love to be on a committee like this, and I would help out as much as I can, because we have to help the families that need help and the kids that need help. And if we don't talk now for them, then we're not going to have any say in the future. Things are just getting pushed on us, and if it gets pushed on faster and faster, then you're not going to do anything about it. So it's almost like things are starting to go through the cracks, and we're kind of stopping it. We're trying to stop it anyways. So if enough people can come out and do this and support this, that they do care for their kids and they care for their neighbors' kids, and that we are a small community that care for each other, then we can try to get the education and figure out what we want for our kids and for our neighbors' kids and for our community. And like, I don't know, I would be happy to help, and there's really good people on the committee, or that I hope get on the committee, that have a great knowledge base on it, and we can try to help each other out. That's really, I was going to say what Margaret said, but she took it.
Okay, we've heard from all our nominees. Just to go back a bit, voting will occur using the ballots provided in your package. You may only vote once per person. If you vote more than once for a person, your ballot will be disqualified. You may only vote for 4 people. If you vote for more than that, your ballot will also be disqualified. You do not need to vote for all 4 people. You can vote for less if you choose. You need to write the names of the people you are voting for so that the intent of who you vote for is obvious to the returning officers. So don't use handwriting as bad as mine. Try to make sure that letters and things are actually clear. Once your ballot is completed, you can come to the voting tables. If you'd rather, you can go to the voting tables. If you feel that you need the privacy of the voting booth, there are voting booths. If you're comfortable in your seat, you can vote where you are. Again, once your ballot is completed, please deposit them at the voting tables. Put your ballots in the box. Again, you can only vote once. Ballots will not be replaced, so don't be forgetful like me and forget it somewhere between your seat and the box. If you need privacy, there are voting booths. When the voting process is completed, representatives from the petitioners group and from the school division will take the ballot boxes to be counted. I think if we allow about 10 minutes, that should be lots of time. So we will take a brief adjournment for 10 minutes. If I see that people have voted quicker than that, we'll get back to the business of the day because we have a chance to put forward policies. So Please vote, deposit your votes, and we'll try to be back in our seats in 10 minutes or so. Since the ballot boxes have left the room, we can get to second item of business. Resolutions to guide the committee. So as we said before, this is open democracy. It's your opportunity to have a say and to put forward resolutions that would help the committee in their deliberations and their recommendations to the board. So under Section 269 of the School Act, electors present at a meeting may by resolution identify the areas of concern related to the purpose stated in the petition. And the purpose that was in the petition was to call a public meeting, to formulate a committee, which we are working on, and then to formulate recommendations to that committee. So in a minute, I'm going to open the floor for resolutions to guide the committee. If you want to make a resolution, we'd ask you to come forward to a microphone, provide your name, and it would help us if you had actually written out a few notes. So the resolution will require a seconder who must also come forward to the microphone and provide their name for the secretary. You'll have 2 minutes to speak to the resolution. Again, the timer will show a yellow card at 1 minute 30 seconds, red card at 2 minutes. All resolutions will be voted on by using the green and black cards. So to make it easy for you, we actually set out some sample resolutions. So you can see the wording, be it resolved that the committee review policy IHF section, et cetera, to offer advice to the board regarding whatever you think is important. And if you put forward that resolution and somebody in the crowd actually agrees and seconds, there'll be a short time for debate, then we'll vote on it, and those resolutions will go forward to the committee, and then the committee will consider them as potential recommendations to the board. So, does anyone have any resolutions regarding the policy as was circulated and identified in the material? Yes. Again, maybe I'll just give you the mic. It might be easier for you. Your name and the wording of your resolution.
My name is Leandra Lowen, L-O-E-W-E-N.
And Leandra is L-E-A-N-D-R-A?
Yeah.
Oh, Leandra, L-E-A-N-D-R-A. Lowen, I think, is L-O-E-W-E-N.
Yes. I would like to say, be it resolved that the committee review policy IHF in order to maintain the right of parents to be informed about all significant aspects.
Just stop you there for a second. Let's let Joanne catch up to you. So, me, actually, you know what? You've got it written out. You read it and then I'll pass it to Joanne. Okay, go ahead.
Maintain the right of parents to be informed about all significant aspects of their child's life at school.
While I'm moving that to the front, seconder for the resolution? Yes, okay. And I'm sorry, I forgot the spelling of your name again. It's yes, yes. Did you get that, Joanne?
S-C-H-L-A-U-W-I-T-Z.
Seconder for the motion. Okay.
T-Z.
All right. You might tidy up the spellings, but we have a mover and seconder, so we'll allow you up to 2 minutes to speak. Do you want to stand or? Okay. Self-evident. Do you wish to speak to the motion?
Yeah, I would like to speak to this motion. As for me, it's very important for my child. I am the one who is responsible for this child. This is my child. It is not the children's. It is not the trustees' children. We're trusting them with the decisions for them. But to keep things away from them are from the parents is very detrimental to our relationship, and it hurts our relationships with our family. We need to keep this door open. It's hard already to communicate sometimes with the school. If you have to opt in or to opt out instead of opt in, it just makes it really, really hard in different aspects. And for example, I've got kids that are 12 years apart, ones that have already gone through. So for sex education, they notified me, and it was up to me to teach them at home or to supplement. And now they don't have to tell me. That concerns me as a parent. And that's the same if my child is struggling with gender or with other things. It concerns me if they don't have to communicate that to me, because what's happening at school isn't necessarily what's happening at home.
Thank you. Anyone else that wish to speak to the motion? Oh, the nominees. Okay, we need a volunteer from the petitioners group. Lynn was part of the petitioners group, is she? Who would go and help us review the ballots. Can we have somebody volunteer? Yeah, if you don't mind. Sheldon, do you want to help this gentleman find the important counting booth? Okay, so while they're doing that, anyone wishing to speak to the motion, against the motion, or an amendment of the motion, you've got up to 2 minutes. Anyone wish to speak to the motion? I think we've got it pretty well recorded. Yes?
I just think that the word significant there might just be a little vague. And so I think we might do well to say including and then to list the things that you're concerned about. Just because significant leaves that up to the discretion of whoever notices those things and whether they think it's significant or not. So can I just pass it back to Leandra and get you to verbalize the specific aspects that we're dealing with?
So that motion would be friendly if Leandra actually agreed to that. Do you wish to add such wording?
My only thought to that is that that's why this is a committee, and they're gonna hammer through all those things. And at this point, I feel trusting of the committee that they're the ones who are going to decide, what they want to put in there. I feel significant is a common sense term that people could work with, and that they'll discuss, hopefully hammer it out. If you want to change it, go ahead, but I'm not going to.
So essentially, the motion, it's not a friendly amendment. You can still propose an amendment to the motion. You need specific wording, you need a seconder. Do you wish to amend the motion, or are you satisfied with that bit of clarification? Okay. Any other wish to speak to the resolution? Giving a second opportunity to speak to the resolution for up to 2 minutes. Yes, sir. Sorry, this gentleman at the back.
Jonathan Sigelko. You need that spelled?
I think it's S-I-G-G-E-L-K-O-W.
Wow. You pass.
Is that Jordan? S-I-G-G-E-L-K-O-W. Okay.
I haven't even used you as a lawyer. That's good.
Okay.
I actually just have a question, and this isn't so much for, it would be more for the school, the trustees and Sheldon, but this motion, I thought the government of Alberta has mandated school boards to do certain things. They don't have a choice. And so I'm thinking, I thought that the government of Alberta said you cannot disclose. So for our committee to say we want you to disclose certain things, they don't have a choice there. It was my understanding, so I'm just wondering if we're sending our committee to failure before they're elected, but that was the question.
I think it's a good question. I can address the question from the chair if we need further clarification. To be clear, resolutions do not bind the committee. They consider them. If they agree with them, then they refer them to the school board. The school board will look at them in the context of what the law says about allowable policies and make an appropriate decision based on that review and that advice. So we're not changing, I guess we're not changing the policy here, we're just making suggestions for consideration, if that helps. Okay, I'm seeing a nod, so a lawyer will accept that as affirmation. Any other, yes? Do you want to come, actually I'll come your way. Well, somebody at your back might disagree with you, so.
Just from what's written about the professional conduct, the Code of the Professional Conduct, Bill 12, or Bill 10, providing framework that prevents teachers from outing students to anyone. I mean, this is just my opinion, but I think a lot of parents might share this opinion that that the only reason for keeping something like that from a parent would be if for some reason the child were endangered by their parent knowing such a thing. And it's my personal opinion that as teachers and staff and other advocates for the student, it would almost be better if they knew the situation with the child's home life. If the parents were, say, very, very opposed to their orientation, I think it would provide a better. I think it would provide a better support system for that child, for these teachers to know that. So I don't think that we're serving any children by hiding that from parents. If there's, for some reason, a parent that is very hard on their children, and this is a reality, some children get bullied at home, and if that's the case, then I think as a safe and caring environment in school, that opens up that dialogue between school and parent to where the school could provide more of a support for those individuals, if that be the case. That's just my thoughts on that.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak to the motion? Pro, con, or an amendment? Second time calling for any discussion on the motion as presented. Third time. Seeing none, if you're in favor, please raise your green voting card. Okay, seeing pretty substantial agreement. Anybody disagreeing, please raise a black voting card. Seeing none, the resolution is passed as it was drafted. Any other resolutions that the floor would like the assemblage to consider? Yes.
So this actually is a concern of mine for its number 5 and its points I and I. And my concern is, and again I've had some meek children too, but I would like to leave it as it was prior to, but not making exceptions that will make other kids uncomfortable. And I'm thinking of the meek children that aren't going to say anything. So this has regards to allowing people or children who significantly, not all the time, just most of the time, they prefer to be called the other sex. So it's pronouns and whatnot. But this is going into the bathrooms and into the change rooms and into overnights. So my resolution is that that children should be allowed into the bathrooms or into the overnight combinations to whichever way they appear. So if they have had their sex change and they are now female or they are now male, then I agree with that. But those meek children and those other children, you're really going to hurt. So that's my resolution. Is again, it's to change rooms and overnights. Like should be with like. So boys should be with boys, girls should be with girls.
Okay. Just to wordsmith this a bit, we're getting pretty close to what you're looking for. To offer advice to the board regarding the fact that the position that children should be allowed to use bathrooms, change rooms, overnight accommodation.
Yeah, I did not say biological though, even though I would agree with that. I would say to their gender type. So if they look female, then they're female. So if they've gone through their sex change or whatnot, my girl will not go and say, have you had a sex change? You know, do you look like a, they look like a girl. That's my idea behind that, because we're going to really hurt a lot of kids.
So we're getting close with the wordsmithing. Overnight accommodation with their physical gender appearance.
Sure.
Okay, seconder for the motion.
No, they look.
Okay.
But I'm sorry, if you look like a female, then you're a female.
Sorry.
But, the kids know.
Before we debate, we need a seconder to the motion. Do we have a seconder? I'll call for a seconder a second time. Call for a seconder the third time. Yes, sorry.
I think we're just a little confused yet, like, on what she's trying to come across with.
Okay, so the way I read it is she's saying that children should be allowed to use bathrooms, change rooms, and other overnight accommodation consistent with their physical gender appearance.
Yes. In here it says that right now that they can use the bathroom if they, on the most part, and if you read that, it says if they consistently are asserted gender. So they don't always have to assert to that gender, they just have to consistently do it. I would like it so it's all the time. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, hold on a second. We need to get some wording that we agree on. So we're close here. What you're saying, accommodation consistent with their physical gender appearance is still what you're wanting to say effectively.
They have to play the part all the time, not just.
Yeah, exactly. They have to be all the time, not just part-time.
So you're willing to second the motion, sir?
Well, yeah.
Okay, we do need a seconder to discuss the motion. All right, so the way the motion reads, children should be allowed to use bathroom, change room, and overnight accommodation consistent with their physical gender appearance. Is that?
Yeah, see, I'm not all for that either, unless it's a bathroom door, they walk in, close the door, they're in it by themselves. I don't think, just because you look like a girl or a boy, does not allow you to go in the boys' room, change room, or washroom. I'm sorry if your kid is like that or feels that way, but I strongly don't agree with that.
Okay, so we do not have a seconder yet. We can do one of two things. A seconder can suggest some wordsmithing that would be acceptable. Otherwise, if we don't get a seconder after 3 calls, then the motion is not moved forward. So does anybody wish to have wording that would be acceptable to the mover as friendly amendment? We do have to agree on the wordsmithing. Yes.
I'm not very good with wording, but you guys give me a idea.
Okay, addressing the issue that you spoke to with some children being meek and uncomfortable in certain situations. I know of lots of children that would be uncomfortable with someone of the opposite gender coming and using their bathrooms, just as somebody that doesn't identify with their own gender feels uncomfortable using that bathroom. So I would propose that for the rights and comfort level of everybody, that those children just be allowed to use a separate bathroom, say the staff bathroom.
But we're not allowed to say that.
We're not?
Well, we could, yeah. But in the new proposal, what it says is our children have to be ex-made. If our children stand up, if they have the voice to stand up, they're the ones that have to go to that special bathroom. Every school already has a special bathroom.
So let me clarify.
I'm looking to Mark.
Because I have a special needs child and they had to use a different bathroom for physiological reasons. And his school just accommodated by saying, okay, well, the staff bathroom will work for that, and they just accommodated. Now, I mean, I was just happy with that. As a parent, I think all parents should be happy with that. I think all students should be happy with that. I mean, we need to work within a framework that hopefully the government allows, that the teachers aren't consumed with unrealistic expectations, because at the end of the day, the teachers are the ones that have to regulate this, and they are already maxed out with things to do. So, I mean, this, I think that if we can propose something that's acceptable by legislation.
Use the special needs.
Or a neutral location,
A neutral bathroom.
that's what I would propose.
Okay.
Okay, so we still need to wordsmith this a bit. So it sounds like you're close to the same page. So how do we get it to a point? So again, we need actually some wording that's agreeable to a seconder. Are there any wording that you can think of that, Ms. King, that would actually make this something that you'd wish to propose as a friendly amendment?
Okay, so if we drop the word appearance, would that work?
Okay, well, we can try that, because if we get a seconder, it does work. Do we have a seconder to the motion as amended?
What about children that don't? Yeah, you can make a suggestion.
Should I second it?
In order for us to debate the motion, we do need a seconder. Yes.
Okay, so we're still debating the motion and we'll vote on it.
We'll debate it after we have a seconder. Okay, so I think we've got the lady's name from past. So we've... Okay, so we have a motion that has a seconder. Now we can have discussion for up to 2 minutes per speaker about the pros and cons of the motion. Would you like to speak to it now?
Yeah, we can. We can still change it now. It's seconded.
Okay, children should be allowed to use a bathroom. I'm going to stick to bathrooms because change rooms and overnight accommodations, to me, they're in a separate category. Children should be allowed to use a bathroom or a washroom, maybe a single stall.
Yep.
With, thank you. A single stall washroom with a lock, or something to that effect. What's that? Private. Thank you. And I would separate the change room overnight accommodation thing, to be honest.
Why don't we say any child that feels uncomfortable using
Okay, just a second. We actually have a proposed amendment to your motion. Is that friendly, ma'am? What she's saying is, as I understand, a private bathroom, eliminating words, change room and overnight accommodation. Is that?
That could be another resolution, though.
Yeah, make that as
Take that out.
Not to take it out to take it out, but I would say that should be a separate resolution. Because it's a different, like overnight accommodation in particular, is very different than using a bathroom.
Okay, we've got a motion and a seconder. So now we either amend the motion,
Yes.
or we vote on the motion as exists and you propose a supplementary one. Well, that's up to you. That's up to you, because at the end of the day, I think you're close to agreement, but you have to be in agreement in order to get a motion. So the wording was originally.
A single stall with a lock, because when you're in a bathroom, how many stalls are in the bathroom? And each of them have a lock. It has to be a private.
Okay, yeah.
Because when you read that, they can go into any bathroom,
Right. No,
because it's a single stall with a lock.
Okay.
And they'll say, it is a single stall with a lock.
No, I agree.
So can you identify yourself now?
Marcy Schwabitz.
Okay, and that's.
So it needs to be a private
Single stall.
single stall with a lock. Or a private washroom or something, but not a single stall with a lock. Private facility.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is some rough discussion around the wording. So children should be allowed to use a bathroom, and they suggested it would be private, single stall with a lock. Is that friendly to the mover?
Yes.
Is it friendly to the seconder?
It has to be a singular room, because a private single stall, you're in a stall, you're private.
Okay, we just have, yeah, in order to get to that debate, we still have to have a motion that's acceptable to a mover and seconder. Is that amendment friendly to you, ma'am?
Well, I'd like it a little broader, to be honest.
How about a private, and
Okay.
I'm the one who's done it, so the private single solid stall. So you've got the solid walls and the solid door.
Why are you having any of that there?
Okay, just a second. We've got further amendment. Is that friendly, ma'am?
Okay, just to explain what the friendly
If it's friendly, that means that it's an acceptable amendment to yourself and the mover. We change the wording and then we debate it. That's what it means.
Oh, and there's no debate.
Correct.
Okay, yeah, it's trying to because I want to debate.
Okay, good. So the wording that we have as amended, and it's a friendly amendment because it's agreeable to the mover and seconder, is children should be allowed to use a bathroom, and in paragraphs, private, comma, single stall with a lock, consistent with their physical gender. That's the motion we're debating. Anyone wishing to speak to the motion? Yes, sir. Hold on. I think we'll let this gentleman speak. Can you identify yourself, sir? And
good evening. My name is Hunter Wood. 2 English words spelled just how you would think. We have yet to distinguish anything different from what we have now. A bathroom is private. A bathroom has a single stall. I'm entirely in favor of making it more private, but these words do not illustrate a change from what we have now.
Yeah, that's what we're trying. That's why we're looking for suggestions.
okay, so an interesting point. Anyone else wish to speak to the motion? Ms. King.
What if we were to change it to something that would look like a private bathroom will be made available in every school for anyone that wishes to use it for any reason that they're not comfortable using the regular bathroom. And that covers people that are shy, that covers people that have physical limitations, people that have mental illness that prevents them from feeling comfortable in group situations, etc. That would cover everybody. It would also make it a lot easier so they don't have to rip the school apart and build something that might not be feasible.
Okay. So the wording, the essence of that is what I heard was an addition to the motion that would read a private washroom will be made available in each school. Am I getting this right, Ms. King? For people that may not necessarily reflect their particular gender. Is that what you're saying?
Or yeah, you could add that including people that don't identify with traditional gender.
Okay. So I'm trying to wordsmith this.
Question?
Hold on a second.
Take the gender part out, sorry.
So that is what it says in it. The only thing it doesn't state that it's only accessible for one person. It should be, but it pretty much, that's what it says.
Okay.
What? Just, does it say one child at a time? Do I not read that right?
So trying to get back to the motion, we're deciding if Ms. King's amendment is friendly. What I heard from that, Ms. King, was that in each school there should be made available a washroom for those that may not identify with their gender of birth, or just gender.
But I mean, I think that the legislation is supposed, like, I thought the committee was supposed to be discussing safe and caring environments. So I mean, it should be available to all children for any type of reason that they don't feel that they fit in going into the public washroom this way or that way.
Okay, I'm trying to record your wish and see if it's friendly to the mover and seconder. Does that sound friendly to the mover or seconder?
That's not, because what I see is, and this worst case scenario in that one is you do have someone that makes children very uncomfortable. You're going to have a mad rush for that one bathroom. You're going to have 50 kids going to that one, exaggerating here, but 50 kids going to one bathroom where that one kid will have 5 bathrooms to choose from.
So what I'm hearing is the motion is that is not a friendly amendment. Okay.
I understand what she's getting at, but in our school, the way it would be, if you did have that one that wanted to provide promotion, we only have that one bathroom, and we could have 50 kids lined up for it then.
Okay, I'm hearing that that amendment is not friendly, so we'll let someone else speak to the motion.
My name is Melissa Bueller, and I'm a teacher in La Glace, and my daughter also attends kindergarten there. And it actually does address the fact, and I understand what you're saying, Nancy, that you might have kids who are saying, well, I'm uncomfortable for this reason, or I'm uncomfortable for this reason. But we also have staff that are placed in the schools that have good sound judgment, and here it says that staff shall consistently demonstrate sensitivity to the needs and safety of all students with respect to restroom, change room access. And then the principal shall ensure individual solutions to restroom, change room access. So these kids are being supervised and watched on a daily basis by staff and administration who really know them. So I think it's also important to remember that we have staff in place and that we're not just going to allow all kids who might feel uncomfortable to use the washroom or whatever they need, the restroom or the change room, whenever they see fit. So I think we do have authority in place to help with that.
Helpful clarification. Yes, you'd like to speak to the motion?
I feel like I want to change directions, and I don't know if I can because I seconded that motion. But I feel like we're getting way too specific. I feel like it needs to be a far more general thing. What I have heard from people is that they do not want transgender females, which is a biological male turned female, or transgender males, which is a biological female turned male, to be able to use the washroom that is consistent with the gender that they identify with. Okay, so that's the feel that I've gotten from people. The second thing is that most people take exception to actually, Melissa, the point just under the one that you read, and that is that a transgender student may request access to a specific gender washroom, change room. Other students or parents on their behalf who object to sharing a gender-specific washroom, change room may request access to a separate washroom, change room. So that's making everyone comply with what the one student needs, you know. So to make a suggestion, if you trust your committee that you voted in, to make a suggestion that we would change, I don't know what we do with this thing, but that we would change it to broaden it and to say to ensure the safety, and I hesitate to say comfort because comfort can be ambiguous. So I would be open to somebody disagreeing with that, but I'll say, just so we keep things moving, ensure the safety and comfort of all students. Okay. Because I think that's what we want, isn't it? Like, I mean, we want all students. I mean, I don't want a transgender student to be compromised either, right?
So that amendment is friendly, okay? So I think the way it should read, actually, Joanne, is to ensure the safety and comfort of all students. So just take out take out the period and just add to ensure the safety and comfort of all students. So we've got a motion amended on a friendly basis and a couple times. Discussion on the motion as amended. Yes.
It's Jonathan Singleton here again. If you have a washroom that most people use and a separate washroom or washrooms that 5% of the student body use because they are transgender or because they don't want to be in a washroom with transgender, they're going to stand out and there's going to be pressure on them. Why are you doing that? Why can't you just fit in? I feel the government has pushed this on us that the school, and I know it's a big expense, but it should be borne by the government. Every washroom should be an individual stall that's used. You're not getting set aside because you're using that washroom that 5% of the people are, because peer pressure is a very strong thing. And you as a parent might want them to use it. They as a child might want to use it, but they don't use it because of peer pressure. There is no peer pressure if everyone transgender by choice, by change of operation, normal, whatever the word we use is, everyone uses the same kind of washroom. There's 20 of them. You go in, you shut the door, it's a whole separate stall. No one's standing out. That's the only way I see this. That's a lot of money. The government's the one that's telling us to do it. Put your money where your mouth is.
So you mean
Here, here.
each staff stall should be, each
Okay, hold on.
each toilet should have its own room.
Separate enclosure, yeah.
Okay, just a second here. I'll give you the mic.
Each toilet should have its own separate room, not stall, separate room.
Totally separate rooms.
Okay, sorry. Further amendment, is that friendly, ma'am? She's wanting to change the word stall to room. Okay, sorry, it's not friendly. So, okay.
Like, can we, I want to start over. Like, I want to just say, ensure the safety and comfort of all students in washrooms, locker rooms, change rooms, whatever. And safety and comfort. And then if the people here trust the people that they voted in on the committee, I think we can hash out what that's going to look like better. I'm not sure that we can get that specific here. I don't know. Maybe if we can, then we're not going to be combining tonight, that's for sure. Maybe tomorrow.
Okay, so, and there is an opportunity to put other resolutions. This isn't the only resolution, but what I understood is that you wanted to actually add in to ensure the safety and comfort of all students in washrooms, change
I
rooms.
want to take out children, from children to the students. Then I want to just pass the resolution to be, ensure the safety and comfort of all students in washrooms, change rooms,
There you go.
and overnight accommodations. That's what I would like.
Okay, is that friendly to the mover?
Yes, because I trust the committee. But I like the wording, the individual room for the toilets.
All right, sounds like the intent is friendly. We're just trying to nail down the wording. So if you could help us with your wording, ma'am, because at the end of the day, we do want to move on. So,
And overnight accommodations, Joanne? Instead of et cetera? And maybe emphasis on all?
okay. So wording past that, a private bathroom, etc. You're wanting that removed. Is that correct? Is that friendly, ma'am?
Yeah, they'll take care of that with the safety and the comfort. They got the idea.
Okay, so the resolution has been simplified substantially. To offer advice to the board that to ensure the safety and comfort of all students in washrooms, change rooms, and overnight accommodations. That's friendly to the mover, friendly to the seconder. The other wording will be deleted after that, a private bathroom, etc. Is that correct? Just, can we scroll down there, Joanne? If we can scroll down a little bit, I think the mover and seconder want to remove all that, and it looks like it has been. Yeah, okay. All right, we have a motion amended and done so in a friendly fashion. Anyone that wants to speak to the motion? Yes, sir. Identify yourself.
My name's David Schwabitz. I actually went to this school like 4 years ago. I graduated 4 years ago. The one thing with the change rooms and the washrooms, most of the time the change rooms are the washrooms. They're not going to change that. You're not going to have enough room. They're going to make those things as cramped as they possibly can to have them as a separate room. So you'd almost have to either do that, or you're going to have to put in another room that is safe, that says, okay, this is for both genders. If you want to use it, use it. And you know what? If I need to go to the bathroom, I'll go to the bathroom in that bathroom. I don't care what people think. And a lot of other people will too.
Like still have a family change room.
Yeah, it's almost like a family change room, like you have at the the swimming pools and that. So that's almost what you would have to do. And then that means you trust the people at your school to use that bathroom.
These are kids though.
Yeah, these are kids.
They don't know.
But thing is you're gonna have to look at the rooms. There you have to look at the size. No one's gonna use the stalls, not for changing them, because they're gonna make them as cramped as possible. You're looking at probably a 3-foot by 5-foot room with a toilet.
Like, that doesn't matter, because if they're gonna do something like this, they will expand and build something to do that.
Our timer says that the 2 minutes is up. So you might be reassured that this motion isn't that specific, sir. It just says that the mover and seconder want to make sure that children are safe and comfortable. Yes, sir. Can you identify yourself?
My name is Caleb Penner. Caleb Penner. The only difference that we really have versus what it reads right on the paper is regarding to the overnight accommodations. So let me just read this here, because I think from what I've heard, we all actually do agree with pretty much everything in here. So all individuals in the school community shall have access to restroom change rooms that allow for appropriate privacy and do not significantly disrupt the school environment. I think everyone's on that page. Staff shall consistently demonstrate sensitivity to the needs and safety of all students with respect to restroom/change room access. I've heard a little bit about overnight accommodations, and we have that in there now. The principal shall ensure individual solutions to restroom change room access are implemented with respect and discretion. I think I've heard that everybody desires that also. And so no?
That's where we would like to have more committee suggestions. That's not up to just the principal.
Okay, so then, so we want the committee to partner with the principals on that issue and be heard.
To discuss that motion and give solutions on how we would suggest.
Right, so there needs to be dialogue about how the principal does that. Okay.
And some schools are absolutely amazing, they already have the
Yeah,
stalls.
because we want it to be open and shareable, and I really do think that this motion is very, very close to what we all want, just based on the discussion I've heard. So I just want to pinpoint exactly what it is that we're trying to accomplish in regard to what the wording is here. And I heard overnight accommodations need to be in there, and then also, then we need to make sure that, so the principal, in conjunction with the committee, shall ensure individual solutions to restroom change room access are implemented with respect and discretion.
Sorry. That's 2 minutes. We might allow you an opportunity to readdress if you didn't get to finish your thought. Anybody else wish to speak the motion as amended for up to 2 minutes? I think we've had lots of debate on this. However, we haven't heard from everyone in the crowd. All right. Second opportunity for anyone to readdress or just to address in the first case. We do have an opportunity to also have further resolutions. Third time, anyone wish to speak to the motion? Hearing none, we should vote on the motion as amended. Again, the motion reads to offer advice to the board, ensuring the safety and comfort of all students in washrooms, change rooms, and overnight accommodations. If you wish to vote with the motion, please show your green card. Opposed with your black card, if you would. Okay, I think the motion was carried. Further resolutions either to encourage the board to review or to give advice to the committee. Yes, ma'am.
I just wrote mine. So, when I looked at the new board policy for PWA, there's a ton of little tiny things, and they're kind of niggly, and I think, am I just being sensitive? So, this is how I see it, not all these little tiny things about the bathroom and about trips or whatever, but my resolution says, be it resolved that the committee review policy IHF in its entirety to ensure that religious-based parenting is not discriminated against and that children who are being brought up in Christian homes are not harassed and called names by staff or students because of their parents' choices. And the reason that this is my resolution is I find the policy as it stands contains language and expectations that characterize Christians in a hostile manner and that do use inflammatory language. Do I have one more minute? I just want to explain.
Actually, if you give your see if we have a seconder, and then get a chance.
Okay.
Okay.
So Fehler, Fehler.
Okay, so we have a resolution. Go seconder of the resolution. Yes. Your name again, ma'am?
Teresa.
Last. Sorry? How do you spell last name? Clausen? K-L-A-F.
SSE.
Okay. This is Clausen, second of the motion. K-L-A-S-S-E-N. Okay. Chance. I'm sorry.
No H. Sorry.
No H. Okay. Yep. Okay. So, chance to speak the motion. 2 minutes.
Okay, 2 minutes. A lot of the language in there uses words like homophobic. I'm a Christian. I have 8 kids in 4 different learning establishments this year. We're not homophobic. We're Christian. We believe that homosexual activity is a sin. Yeah. Do I hate gay people? No. I also believe having sex before marriage is a sin. Do I hate all heterosexual people? I believe having sex with somebody that you're not married to when you're married is adultery, and that's a sin. I don't hate people because they sin. I sin. My kids are going to sin. The beautiful thing about Christianity is we believe that there's a remedy for sin, that God forgives, that He loves to forgive, that He wants to forgive. I teach my kids that sin begins in our own heart, and we have to deal with our own sin. It starts by judging your own self. Then we move out, and God says in the Bible that judgment begins with the church of God. So we start judging in the church. We're not judging people outside the church who aren't even Christians. We don't want to impose anything on homosexuals or on homosexual families. We don't want to say to them, you're no good, you're a bad person. But I do want the right to teach my children that as a believer in Jesus Christ, this is what we believe. And I don't want the school to be calling us names because of that.
Amen.
Okay, so the motion is almost recorded in its entirety. Anyone wishing to speak to the motion for up to 2 minutes? We have a seconder, Ms. Clausen. Yeah. Anyone wishing to speak to the motion for up to 2 minutes? Yes.
And just identify yourself, please.
Margaret Senft.
Yeah.
I agree totally with you, Stephanie, on the motion. I want to make that clear. I see some difficulties because I think policy IHF, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's safe learning environments, and then in brackets, it's sexual, it's gender identity, gender expression, and sexual orientation. So the policy itself is, I think, addressing Bill 10, which basically added gender identity and gender expression into the Alberta Act, the Alberta Education Act, the Alberta Human Rights Act, and the Alberta School Act. So I don't know that as a committee we would have like policy IHF is specifically to that, so I'm not sure that we would have license to address the response to. Yeah, can I make a suggestion? And it's not a new resolution, and my 2 minutes is going to be up, but the suggestion would be, I know Grand Prairie Public has kind of an affidavit at the end of their, or in the middle of their policy, stating something about, we recognize that there are all kinds of views, and we want to treat all views with respect, and not, like not single out something. Absolutely. No, I totally agree with you. So, but there are, I think, ways that we could address this, but maybe not with that wording.
So do you have a specific amendment you'd like to put forward, ma'am?
I can't.
Oh.
Not yet.
Okay, well, there's still opportunity to debate. We still have a motion, seconder, and an opportunity to debate the motion as presented for up to 2 minutes, or propose amendments, friendly or not. Yes.
I think that this would be a great resolution. I would just love to see it in writing. I don't care if they can do anything about it or not. I know we just have a little tiny committee in a little tiny community in Alberta. and I don't hold a lot of hope. But I would love to see this down in writing. The only thing, Stephanie, I would do at the very end, I would just say, are not harassed and called names by staff or students because of their parents' choices. I would just switch that around.
Sorry.
Just to make it more clear.
Okay, so we're suggesting a wording change. Is that friendly to the mover? Oh, okay. So we are going to wordsmith that. Is that friendly to the seconder, Teresa?
Well, I'm wondering if we could include other religious beliefs in this, or if that's a bad idea. Like, because Muslims don't believe in. It would give us more weight if we talked about any other religions that did not agree with faith. Yeah, sure.
So I think what I'm hearing is brought up in faith-based homes. Is that what we're hearing, replacing Christian with?
Because of religious purposes, she's thought this through, and that they would not be discriminated against because of their religious, because of their parents. Yeah, so just exactly like that, just including other religions. So religious freedom.
Okay, so one way we can do that to expand it, and I think it captures your intent, is replace the word Christian with faith-based homes. Okay, that's obviously agreeable to the seconder. Is that agreeable to the mover?
Sure.
Okay. So that does meet, it's friendly to the mover and seconder. People wishing to speak to the motion, including Ms. King.
Can we not include like that just the students themselves might hold those beliefs as well as their parents or choices? Because it just says parents, and if a student themselves holds a credo themselves, then it should also be acknowledged.
So what I'm hearing there, because of their choices or those of their parents, is that friendly? That's friendly to the movers. Is that friendly to the seconder, Teresa? So there's been a further friendly or amendment proposed because of their choices or those of their parents. Is that friendly? Okay, so it's friendly to the mover and seconder. We just delete that last choices, Joanna, and it reads well. So anybody that wishes to debate the revised motion for up to 2 minutes, Mr. Siegelkow.
I agree totally with what you said. I'm a Christian, and I don't like it when people call me homophobic because I'm not afraid of those kind of people at all. But I'm just wondering if even the word's religious based in there, because I think there are people who might not be Muslim, they might not be Christian, they might not just approve or want their children in the same washroom as someone who chooses that. To simply say any words that would be considered inflammatory to screen the policy or offensive and try to, now that's really hard, I know, because what's offensive, but I think it's come across quite clear here that calling Christians homophobic is very offensive to us. I don't think the world really realizes that, but if they could see our hearts, they'd probably realize we're not homophobic, just because we're opposed to it any more than someone that doesn't eat meat. For whatever reason, I mean, they're labeled something. Well, I think we need to be careful with labeling. So I'm not opposed to it, but I just think it limits it because it doesn't have to be for religious-based reasons. So, but any words in the document that might be offensive or hurtful in any way to parents or children. And I think our committee would know what those words are.
Sorry, is there any specific amendment?
Well,
I would just take out
Religious-based.
religious-based, but I mean, my idea is just simply to review the document for any words that would be offensive or hurtful in any way for whatever your view is, and to...
Okay, so just to be clear, wishing to propose a friendly amendment that it would be that parents are not discriminated against. Is that the wording you're looking for?
The which, sorry?
That parents are not discriminated against and that children are, etc. Is that what you're looking for?
Well, parents are not discriminated against based on their views by using words which are harmful or inflammatory.
Okay, I'm just trying to make sure that your wishes are expressed specifically. Do you wish to amend the motion?
I don't know if they want to accept that. I just threw that out there. I wasn't even.
Okay.
I just think that's what they're trying to say, but it's kind of very narrow.
Okay, we don't have a specific amendment to deal with. Anyone wishing to speak to the amendment or to the motion as amended? Yes.
I think maybe that should be another separate resolution, just to keep this one, so it actually means something. I think it would be good to say other people who have conscientious objections should be also freed or something like that, but it could be a separate resolution. Would that?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, we've had good discussion. We've had many people wish to be speaking to the motion as amended. Anyone else wishing to speak to the motion as amended? Calling a second time for anyone that wishes to speak to the amendment. Third time. Seeing no hands raised. If you wish to vote in favor of the motion as amended, please raise a green voting card. Opposed, raise a black voting card. The resolution is carried. Okay, we have an opportunity to deal with additional resolutions because we don't have voting results quite yet. So anyone else wishing to propose a motion suggesting to the committee things that they might consider or advice that you'd like to give to the committee, which is a different way of saying that particular resolution. I'm sorry? Oh, the vote's ready. Okay. Well, then we've accomplished lots, but any further wishes for resolutions to be considered? Mr. Siegelkow.
I don't have a resolution, just a question for the committee. Obviously, we weren't going to all be able to have our say in all the things we'd like to discuss tonight. Is the committee open, or is there a way the committee can be open to receiving suggestions, information to consider from the people here, or feedback, I guess feedback on an ongoing basis? Or is this it?
So we don't know who the committee is just yet, so I can't put anybody on the spot just yet, but it is a free country. Sheldon, do you wish to address that question?
After the election of 4 committee members, the board will also appoint 2 to the committee. Whoever the 4 are, I hope they give us their contact information tonight. And then the committee will need to set up themselves the 6 people, and they will be able to choose if they want presentations, right? Oh, I'm sorry.
So after tonight, you will have elected 4 committee members. The board appoints 2, so you have a committee of 6. They will be able to choose whether or not they want presentations as a group. So, if they want a presentation on transgender, what it means, or on a specific issue. In addition, you're free as individuals to, for lack of a better word, lobby the members of the committee for your perspective. But as a group, tonight will be the only night under the School Act that you have this opportunity to vote on these resolutions. So if there's something that you really want to give advice on, and it will carry more weight as a group than as an individual, right? It's tonight's tonight.
Another question to that, but they don't have to fine-tune the resolution, right?
Oh, goodness, no.
If we have another concern, we could just do a broad thing, and that opens it up to them to make the resolution, to fine.
It's my understanding that this section of the Act refers to offering advice to the committee on the areas that you want them to look at. In fairness, you can't bind the committee to any specific resolution, otherwise you kind of have no reason to have a committee, right? So you offer direction, and they go in that direction, discuss it, and they hit some reason that they can't follow your direction. Then they find a compromise. So that you have to accept the fact that you're offering advice to the committee only, and they may choose not to take your advice, right? Or may have a reason not to.
So if I were to make a resolution for the committee to take the whole Bill 10 from top to bottom, you can.
Okay,
It's legislation, but what we're talking about is the school policy. A school policy from head to toe and look at what's best for our kids in a broad sense. Would that work?
So the issue that you run into when you start talking about Bill 10 or any human rights legislation is that we exist in a hierarchy of laws. And the board policy has to reflect the laws that are above it, and the provincial laws have to reflect the constitutional laws. So if you start offering advice, you can offer advice that the board ignore the human rights legislation. However, by law, the board can't ignore, and if the board does ignore, you can put the board into a court situation, which would be expensive. Part of my job as a superintendent, it would be to warn them, recognizing they have a right to ignore me, right? But I would bring them case law that I would want them to look at before they made that decision of intentionally violating a human right. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you have to limit your advice to the board policy, and the committee, you've got to trust the committee to look and find what the board policy is, find out what the human rights laws are around it, and offer advice that meets both. Because if in my opinion, if the committee offers advice which contravenes human rights, it would not serve the board well.
Mr. Rowe's opinion is consistent with legal opinion. Thanks, Sheldon. That was very helpful. So the results of the election are now available. So I've been given the results, and Margaret Semp has been elected. Lynn Scheidegger, Manny Corpus, and Dave Dunker. Motion to destroy the ballots would now be in order. Mover. Sorry, it's Mr. Penner, right? Jordan Penner, is that correct? Penner. Seconder, motion to destroy the ballots.
I'll second it. David Schwabitz.
David Schwabitz has seconded that motion. Debate on the motion. We can. Second time. Any debate of the motion is presented. Third time, seeing none. If you wish to vote in favor of the motion to destroy the ballots, please raise a green voting card. Anyone wishing to vote against the motion, a black voting card. Seeing none, let the record record that the vote was unanimous to destroy the ballots. And we would like committee members to meet with the secretary, as Mr. Rowe quite correctly said, to make sure you got contact information, because the committee has a lot of work to do, and they've got a short time to do that. And as Sheldon quite correctly said, they will be joined by two members to make a committee of 6. We've accomplished a lot. A motion to adjourn would be appropriate at this point. Lynn Scheidegger. In some situations, people. Sorry? No, I'm ready to. Okay. So in some situations, people don't second that motion, but I think it's appropriate in a democracy. Seconder, yes, and your name for the record, sir.
Arnold Romanak. Romanuik.
Okay, any debate on that particular motion? Anybody? Doesn't have to combine tonight. Going once, going twice, third time, voting cards green if you wish to adjourn the motion. Black if you want to stay out and hang out with me for a while. Oh, we got one. Oh no. Thanks, people. It's important for democracy that people participate, and you've done that job in spades tonight. We appreciate you coming out and your interest in education. Thanks very much.